Hey everyone. Welcome to my channel B&B Glow. Is Rich free to follow Brooke after Taylor turns down his marriage proposal? According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Taylor Hayes might turn down Rich Forrester's proposal of marriage, allowing him to focus on Brooke Logan. Taylor would not be challenging Rich about his continued love for Brooke if she were not insecure, despite her desire to act otherwise. Despite Rich's constant insistence that Taylor is his way ahead, Taylor obviously has some reservations about it. Now that Rich is aware that Nick Marone is once again in Brooke's sphere of influence, those doubts will only grow. Taylor may get increasingly concerned that Rich is still infatuated with his ex-boyfriend as his protective nature grows. Naturally, this can lead to Rich going above and beyond to demonstrate his level of commitment. After all, at one point, Rich was reminded by Eric Forrester that he wasn't married to Taylor or engaged, which diminished that commitment. Rich might choose to change that and persuade both himself and Taylor that he can really give it his best for her. It's not a given that Taylor will accept Rich's offer to settle down and start a new chapter in their marriage. By the end of July, Rich will be pursuing Brooke across Italy as part of a triangle of love with Nick. How will B&B move us from Rich's dedication to Taylor to his impending pursuit of Brooke? That speaks volumes about who owns Rich's heart. If they could give Taylor more authority and eventually get her to dump Rich, that would be great. With an engagement ring in hand, Rich might pop the question and ask Taylor if she will marry him again. Maybe Rich will promise to be faithful forever, but Taylor will protest that she cannot accept this offer. Taylor may insist that Rich is still fundamentally in love with Brooke and release him to pursue her. Given that Brooke is the person Rich really wants, it's possible that Taylor may terminate things and essentially grant Rich permission to be with her. Rich and Taylor are definitely going to split up, regardless of how everything turns out. Additionally, Brooke is having an accident that will influence Rich's belief that she is his soulmate. Stay tuned for further details on Rich's future as his love life is set to experience some significant changes, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Taylor begins to suspect Rich. According to spoilers for this week's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, a familiar face will arrive in Los Angeles and completely upend the status quo. Nick Marone's return and Jack Wagner's return to B&B will cause a great deal of trouble. Here are the upcoming events on the CBS soap opera. Be prepared for spoilers. Nick and Brooke get back together. B&B spoilers indicate that Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, will be overjoyed to see her ex-husband again. Furthermore, his timing couldn't have been more ideal. Brooke is still struggling to come to terms with her breakup with Rich Forrester and is currently nursing a shattered heart. Brooke is equally infatuated with the captain and is the one who got away for Rich's half-brother. Soon, word will spread around the community that Nick Marone has returned to Los Angeles, and Rich won't be pleased. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful suggest that when Rich learns that Brooke and Nick are hanging out, his jealous side will out. Rich will be abruptly reminded of his love for Brooke Logan with the reunion of the ex-couple. But what about Taylor Hayes? Rich still wants Brooke, Taylor realizes. Because Rich Forrester and Brooke Logan were together, Taylor was actually dying. Ironically, since Taylor and Rich reconciled, her symptoms of broken heart syndrome have disappeared. Taylor has experience with this, and according to teasers for Bold and the Beautiful, she can sense that Rich is upset about Brooke's reconciliation with Nick Marone. According to teasers for Bold and the Beautiful, Taylor will eventually come to believe that Rich is still in love with Brooke. Should Taylor Hayes be concerned about losing her partner, in your opinion? Does he still have feelings for Brooke Logan? Old rivalries are rekindled by Nick and Rich's explosive confrontation over Brooke. According to B&B teasers, Nick confronts Rich about his treatment of Brooke after Rich discovers him with her at Forrester Creations. This leads to a heated argument between the half-brothers. Forrester Creations is rocked by Nick and Rich's explosive showdown. The half-brothers fight for Brooke's affections. Rich Forrester's biggest fear, Nick Marone, showed up at Forrester Creations just when we thought he had moved on with Taylor Hayes. The stress? Out of the charts. What's at stake? Brooke Logan's affection. Additionally, if you believe that this rivalry was over, you should reconsider. A meeting that transforms everything. Imagine this. Rich walks into Forrester Creations, most likely anticipating just another ordinary workday. Rather, he discovers Nick, his half-brother, cuddling up to Brooke. Nick has already kissed the blonde beauty, so we're not just chatting, we're talking intensely love feelings. That expression on Rich's face? Unmistakable jealousy mingled with pure territorial wrath. Nick, who never misses a chance, attacks Ridge right away. With his signature smirk, he continues, "We were just talking about you." What about Brooke? She's looking at Ridge as if she's not really upset about Nick's attention. Ridge's treatment of Brooke is criticized by Nick. This is when the exciting part begins. Nick doesn't mince words. He is criticizing Ridge for his treatment of Brooke throughout the years, including the emotional abuse, the never-ending cycle of picking Taylor and then going back to Brooke, and the back and forth. And what do you know? He's not incorrect. Nick is presenting himself as the reliable substitute, the man who won't try to win Brooke over. In essence, he's telling Ridge that he might be Brooke's true destiny, just possibly. The foolishness. The drama. The whole truth of the matter. Ridge exhibits jealousy even though he is with Taylor. The worst part is that Ridge should be blissfully married to Taylor, right? Why, therefore, does he appear to have had his favorite toy stolen? The man's jealousy is evident on his face and cannot be concealed. Seeing Nick with Brooke is obviously hurting him, even if he chose Taylor, again. This is traditional Ridge. His goal is to have it both ways. Although he is with Taylor, he is going completely wild at the thought of Brooke dating someone else, especially his half-brother. What this signifies for the most difficult love triangle in Los Angeles. Let's be honest. The timing of Nick's homecoming could not have been more ideal. After Ridge's most recent rejection, Brooke has been at her lowest point, and Nick is here to provide solace, security, and an opportunity at something new. The man is not only come for a brief visit, he has a purpose, and that purpose is to finally win Brooke over. Will Ridge suddenly realize what he's lost if Nick is able to win Brooke's heart this time? Will he attempt to ruin Nick and Brooke's reconciliation? What about Taylor? Will she just watch Ridge fall in love with Brooke again? The rivalry between the Marone brothers intensifies. Brooke isn't the only one involved. Despite having a father in common, these two half-brothers couldn't be more dissimilar. The fashion tycoon Ridge is constantly caught between two women. Nick is a former sea captain who pursues his goals with clarity. Their rivalry has always been fierce, but now that Brooke is in the middle once more, a full-scale conflict is certain. Considering their past, which includes the entire situation involving infant Jack Marone and the moment Brooke believed RJ. These two have enough luggage to fill a cargo ship. One of them was Nick's kid. And now? One dramatic encounter is bringing all of that history to the surface. Isn't this the most important question? For decades, Brooke has been riding the Ridge roller coaster. Unending drama, 8 marriages, and innumerable breakups. Perhaps Brooke should wake up and realize she deserves better than being someone's second option, as Nick suggests. However, we are familiar with Brooke. She has a strong bond with Ridge. Is she truly willing to forego their destiny in exchange for Nick's security? Or will Ridge fight for her out of jealousy, leaving Taylor behind once more? There is no doubt that this altercation at Forrester Creations is only the start. Ridge needs to decide what he truly wants now that Nick is back in town and prepared to make a big change. Since Nick Marone has made it very apparent that he is here for Brooke and won't back down, he isn't playing games. After Nick Brooke kisses Taylor, Ridge disparagingly suggests her. Out of retaliation for catching Nick with Brooke, Ridge pops the question to Taylor. According to John McCook, Eric stands by Ridge as an accident threatens. Will this hopeless engagement be ruined by jealousy? Inside are spoilers for B&B. After catching Nick with a broken spelling disaster, Ridge's sarcastic proposal to Taylor. Ridge Forrester makes the most cliched move in his playbook just when we thought the love triangle couldn't get any messier, and poor Taylor Hayes is about to suffer the price. It all began with jealousy. Ridge is sweet and predictable. What is the man's amazing reaction when he witnesses Nick Marone making advances on Brooke Logan? Bring a ring and run directly to Taylor. Because nothing screams "I love you" more than popping the question to one woman while fuming over another. Folks, this isn't just any proposal. This is the type of spite proposal that occurs when a man feels the need to prove something after having his ego bruised. To whom? He himself? Brooke? The cosmos? Who knows? But there's no denying that Taylor is worthy of more than being someone's rebound reaction. Understands what's going on. The worst part is that Eric Forrester is solidly on Team Ridge himself. Yes, Daddy Dearest is in favor of Ridge and Brooke's reconciliation. When your own father is supporting your ex while you're proposing to someone else, can you imagine how awkward family gatherings would be? Eric has lived long enough to witness the development of this trend. He is familiar with his son. He is aware that whenever Ridge's relationship with Brooke becomes tough, he tends to turn to Taylor. It is comparable to viewing a decades-old tennis match. The trend we cannot disregard. I must make reference to Ridge's past without bringing up any particular unverified incidents. Based on the information provided in the source, which states that he was engaged to one person while pursuing Brooke, I may discuss his overall pattern. Shall we discuss Ridge's past performance? There is history behind this man. Do you recall when Brooke was seeing someone else and he was engaged to another woman? He makes a big move out of jealousy, and then, surprise. In the end, he pursues Brooke nevertheless. The cycle is as foreseeable as the changing of the seasons. Ridge observes Brooke content with a different man. Ridge goes into a panic. Ridge pops the question to whoever is free, which is typically Taylor. Ridge acknowledges his desire for Brooke. Repeat after rinsing. How this affects Taylor. Taylor, poor guy. The woman could perform this dance in her sleep because she had done it so many times. The crucial question is whether she will eventually come to her senses and refuse. Consider it. A psychiatrist is what she is. When she observes toxic trends, she should be able to identify them. And this emotional manipulation is textbook. Despite his sudden realization that Taylor is his true love, Ridge has decided not to pop the question. His jealousy went into overdrive when he saw Nick with Brooke, which is why he is proposing. Taylor must be aware of this. She must know deep down that Ridge is using her as a band-aid to patch up his damaged ego. Specifically, will she be able to walk away this time? Nick's timing was ideal. To give credit where credit is due, Nick Marone's timing is flawless. Nick shows up to mess things up just as Ridge thought he had Brooke on the back burner. And truthfully, well done. Rather than being a backup plan, Brooke deserves to be chosen first. Brooke may be waiting for Nick's return in order to finally recognize Ridge for the indecisive guy he is. Nick is demonstrating to Brooke what it's like to be someone's top priority while Ridge is busy making spiteful proposals. The repercussions we're all anticipating. What comes next, then? This engagement is doomed from the beginning if history is any guide, as it generally is in soap opera land. Like a transient tattoo, Ridge will wear that ring on Taylor's finger for a short time until it disappears. When Ridge is forced to deal with the fallout from his actions, the true drama will begin. Is Taylor going to finally had enough? This time, will Brooke truly remain with Nick? Above all, will Ridge ever realize that you can't exploit one woman to incite jealousy in another? This whole thing is a powder bomb waiting to blow since Ridge is acting out of pure jealousy and Eric is supporting Ridge. One misstep, one last glance between Ridge and Brooke, and Taylor's heart is shattered once more. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. 3 crucial errors in Brooke's love life that fans can't ignore. Brooke Logan is at the heart of many of the most dramatic storylines on The Bold and the Beautiful, a daytime drama mainstay for decades. Being one of the most recognizable characters on the program, Brooke has experienced grief, betrayal, and passion in her romantic life. Even if her admirers have supported her through innumerable romances, her turbulent journey has been formed by her inexcusable romantic errors. Here, we look at 3 crucial errors in Brooke's romantic life that the public finds impossible to overlook, choices that have caused mayhem, shattered families, and unending drama in Los Angeles. 1. Her relationship with Ridge Forrester, on and off. One of the most well-known and intricate love tales in The Bold and the Beautiful's history is that of Brooke and Ridge Forrester. Their decades-long romance has been characterized by adultery, weddings, breakups, and intense rivalry, especially with Taylor Hayes. Even if a lot of admirers have shipped Ridge over the years, a persistent problem has been their incapacity to keep up a steady, trustworthy relationship. The fact that Brooke kept forgiving Ridge in spite of his waning allegiances was one of his worst errors. Ridge had left Brooke for Taylor on multiple occasions, only to come back when things changed. Brooke has frequently been humiliated and devastated by their pattern of reunions and breakups. Despite publicly choosing Taylor or betraying her confidence, Brooke has often allowed Ridge back into her life rather than permanently leaving. Brooke's propensity to put her love for Ridge before her own dignity was another crucial mistake. Brooke's inability to establish boundaries left her caught in a draining cycle, whether it was pursuing him while he was with Taylor or putting up with his lack of decisiveness. Fans have repeatedly witnessed her stand up for Ridge, yet history has been repeated. She could have found a healthier, more stable love if she had left for good years ago. 2. Getting married to Bill Spencer to get even. One of Brooke's most impetuous and foolish choices was her marriage to Bill Spencer. Although there was no denying their initial passion, Brooke's desire to harm Ridge after he left her for Quinn Fuller was a major factor in their union. Brooke hurried into a relationship with Bill, a man notorious for his cunning plans and erratic temper, rather than taking the time to recover. Because it was based on retaliation rather than true love, this marriage was doomed from the beginning. Despite being aware of Bill's past of manipulation, Brooke chose to disregard the warning signs, which resulted in a tumultuous and brief marriage. Additionally, their connection caused friction with Hope, her daughter, who had a complex past with Bill of her own. In addition to having a negative love outcome, Brooke's decision to wed him caused tension in her family. Additionally, Bill's fixation with Brooke frequently veered into unhealthy areas, such as his attempts to exert control over her life. Brooke chose to remain in the marriage until its inevitable dissolution rather than acknowledging its poison. Supporters were unable to overlook how this connection brought to light Brooke's propensity to act hastily when she is feeling vulnerable, a habit that has cost her dearly. 3. Sleeping with Thomas is a betrayal of Hope. Brooke's inebriated night out with her daughter Hope's ex-fiancé, Thomas Forrester, was possibly one of her most startling errors. Fans were shocked by this scandalous event because it not only weakened Brooke's moral superiority in the Forrester family drama but also harmed her friendship with Hope. Although Brooke had been berating Thomas for his deceptive actions towards Hope for years, she went too far in a moment of weakness. Given that she had frequently criticized others for making similar errors, the incident gave the impression that she was hypocritical. The emotional repercussions were severe, despite the fact that nothing physical had happened between them. Brooke's reputation as a mother and role model suffered greatly, and Hope felt completely deceived. Because Brooke had always presented herself as a protective mother, this error was especially obvious. However, her behavior demonstrated that even she was capable of making careless, self-centered choices. The irony of Brooke, who had warned Hope about Thomas for years, getting into a precarious situation with him was too obvious for fans to overlook. She displayed her poor judgment during a dark period in her romantic life. In conclusion, is Brooke ever going to grow from her errors? A flurry of passion, turmoil, and remorse has characterized Brooke Logan's romantic life. Even while she has experienced genuine love and joy on occasion, her major transgressions, her incapacity to let go of Ridge, her hasty marriage to Bill, and her betrayal of Hope, have left her with long-lasting wounds. Supporters are still debating whether she will ever stop these detrimental habits or if they are something she will always do. Brooke's love decisions will surely continue to be a major theme as The Bold and the Beautiful progresses. Will history continue to repeat itself, or will she at last find true love? There is little doubt that viewers will be paying careful attention in the hopes that this legendary figure will come to terms with her past before it's too late. Are Ridge and Taylor's relationships really over? According to spoilers for Tuesday, June the 17th, 2025's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, Taylor and Ridge have a highly crucial conversation. Mothers and their offspring. Taylor Hayes starts to realize some unpleasant realities following a heart-to-heart conversation with Eric Forrester. She is also aware that Ridge Forrester's apparent boost in confidence is a front. She has made a concerted effort to avoid living under Brooke Logan's shadow, but it is not always easy. Since he was married to Taylor and has 2 children with her, Eric has always been on Team Brooke, even though he has nothing against her. Taylor and Ridge had a very candid conversation about the eternal elephant in the room because Taylor feels the need to talk to Ridge about everything. They've had this conversation countless times. Read this. Nick Marone returns as Luna gets to know Hayes on The Bold and the Beautiful weekly spoilers. Although Ridge is determined to make things work with Taylor, he must acknowledge that his love for Brooke will never go away. Will Taylor understand that Ridge is with her because he needs to, not because he loves her as much as she has always loved him? Ridge and Taylor had better move quickly if they're going to break up again because the distraction of Brooke. Although Brooke promised Hope Logan, Annika Noel, that she would wait for Ridge indefinitely, who is this person that she sees before her? Is Nick Marone truly looking as good as ever? Hold on to Brooke's heart. In a few of minutes, Nick gives Brooke a passionate kiss, demonstrating how happy he is to see her. This might fulfill Hope's dream. To distract her mother from her imagined fate, a new man has moved to town. Since the 2 men have never gotten along, Ridge won't be pleased to find that Nick is back in Los Angeles. It appears that Ridge has never been fond of anyone who diverts Brooke's attention, so he may soon be asking, Taylor who? By then, will Brooke even give a damn?